What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, and the wait is finally over. The Baltimore Ravens have selected their new offensive coordinator. In the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts. Was Todd Monken the right hire for the Ravens? I'm going to give my thoughts on, his career, how I think it'll affect the Ravens, how I think the Ravens will be able to utilize him in order to get the best out of their personnel. And then finally, talk about Lamar Jackson a little bit. Josh and I are recording our podcast tomorrow. Monken will absolutely be a topic of discussion. So make sure to put any questions you have that you want us to answer in the comment section down below as well. Let's jump right into it. First off, when I saw that the Ravens hired Todd Monken, I was a little bit disappointed. And not to say that I'm not disappointed right now, but I saw it and I was like, oh man, like we were rumored like we wanted Bieniemy, and then we like didn't even give him an interview. And I was a big fan of Canales out of Seattle, but we're going with Todd Monken. And my initial thoughts are like, okay, let's go, let's ride. Because here's the thing, everybody. This is what I think every single person needs to recognize. Todd Monken is not Greg Roman. That's a win. Like, we've already gotten better. Like, it's officially like Greg Roman's no longer here. But overall, his career, he's been an offensive coordinator in two different stints. He was an offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then he was an offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Most recently, Georgia Bulldogs offensive coordinator, and I think he was also a quarterbacks coach as well. But they won back-to-back national championships. He overall, has coached in a lot of different systems. Oklahoma State, Southern Mississippi, LSU, Jacksonville, Louisiana Tech, Eastern Michigan. He's been in the Notre Dame, going all the way back. He started at Grand Valley State. He's been around the block, and he is somebody that I think has a lot of experience. And one of the most important things is he has had success, especially recently. And that's something that I think the Baltimore Ravens are going after, because first off, what are we trying to do right now? We're trying to get Mr. Lamar Jackson. Trying to get him to resign. And first off, I don't think Todd Monken would sign to the Baltimore Ravens if he was uncertain about whether Lamar Jackson would be there or not, because he had an offer to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. I almost said head coach there, but offensive coordinator. And he turned it down to take the Baltimore Ravens job. I feel like that has to be because he has some certainty that Lamar Jackson's going to be here. But from Lamar Jackson's point of view, this is a guy that won. Lamar Jackson wants to win. That is his pure goal. So bringing in somebody that Lamar has watched win back-to-back national championships, has had success with tight ends, has had success with wide receivers, has had success with running backs. He's done it all. And that's the biggest thing that I want to point out in his career, in Todd Monken's career, the diversity that his offenses have had. That's the biggest thing. In the NFL, he has always had a 1,000-yard receiver as an offensive coordinator. Mike Evans has done it. I believe Mike Evans did it 3 times, or he did it 2 times. When he was over there as an offensive coordinator. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. did it when he was in Cleveland. He's had he's had a pass game. I think a lot of people look at him and they go, man, it's just going to be the run. First off, he was coming out of like Oklahoma State. Like that's a pass heavy offense. But him as a coach is all about versatility, and it's all about balance. And I think that's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens need is, hey, somebody that can recognize the run game as well as the pass game. Believe me when I say this right now, he wants to throw the football. You watch any interview with him, I strongly recommend everybody watch his press conference. And I'm going to, hold on. I've already seen this, but the first person I saw it from, it could have been from somebody else, was Garnett West, at Garnett478 on Twitter. He posted saying, here's a really good video to have a better understanding of Todd Monken discussing his philosophy on offense. Just so you guys can see, watch this video if you want to, get a bigger understanding. I'll recap it. But I think it's a great watch. It's like 2.5 minutes long. And he talks about how it's not just about passing. It's not just about running. That's not balance. Balance is having a versatile attack through different people. It's not all going through one guy. It's not all going to your wide receiver. You know, look at Mike Evans. It's not all going to your running back. Look at Nick Chubb. It's not all going to your tight end in Brock Bowers. It's not all going to your running back. Georgia's running back, I believe, is Gibbs. Might be Gibbs. Not 100% sure. That might be Alabama's running back. Haven't watched him yet because he's going to go really early. Something that we have been asking for is getting the ball in the hands of our playmakers. And that is a philosophy that he talks about in that of wanting to have a bunch of different playmakers touching the ball. Who are the Ravens playmakers that we can get the ball in the hands of, that we want to get the ball in the hands of? First off, Lamar Jackson. Have him roll out, have him run, have him, utilize his athletic, gift from God, if you will, to get first downs. But also get the ball in the hands of Isaiah Likely. Very good player after the catch. Get the ball in the hands of Mark Andrews. Very good player after the catch. Get the ball in the hands of J.K. Dobbins. Get the ball in the hands of Gus Edwards. Get the ball in the hands of not Patrick Ricard, because he's not a versatile threat when he gets the ball. Get it to Devin Duvernay. Give it to Bateman, right? There are so many players in this Baltimore Ravens offense that we want the ball in the hands of. And Greg Roman struggled with getting them the football, especially in open space. Todd Monken's goal is to be able to utilize every single player. That's something that we haven't had. It seemed like, Greg Roman was always dialed in. Oh my God, it's got to go through Andrews. It's got to go through Andrews. It's got to go through Andrews. And then we'll look everywhere else. Monken is not that way. If you watch the national championship game, Georgia versus TCU, where was Brock Bowers? I'm not trying to slander Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was seen as, one of the best tight ends in the country. And yet he wasn't utilizing him a ton. Why? Because he was using everybody. It wasn't just a focus on one particular player. And I think a lot of people look at that Georgia team and they go, man, this is just going to be a guy that runs the ball and he's going to throw it to the tight ends. That's not necessarily the case, because when he was in Tampa Bay, it was throwing the ball a lot. When he was in Cleveland, he was throwing the ball. Baker Mayfield had his best career year when he was the Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator. Mike Evans, I believe, had his best career year. He had a 1,500-yard receiving season. He had 3,000-yard receiving season. I think he had like 3,800 yards and 3 seasons under Todd Monken. The tight ends weren't getting the ball at all. He is a coach. This is what we've been asking for. Use the personnel and the players that you have. He has used traditionally a lot of 11 personnel. Running back, tight end, 3 wide receivers. Like, that's the majority of his offense. Like, in his first year, I believe, in Tampa, and his first year in Georgia, in Georgia, he was using 11 personnel about 60% of the time in both. And then in Tampa, he increased it. And then in Georgia, he decreased it because he recognized, hey, maybe we don't exactly have the personnel, or we really do have the personnel to be in 3 wide receiver sets. Come on, how long have we been asking for 3 wide receiver sets? That's something that he utilizes. That's something that he recognizes. He is somebody that I think could be a great hire because he is going to use the talent on this roster. And he'll also be very involved, I think, in the draft process of a wide receiver, because he's used very good wide receivers. If you look at his NFL coaching career, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, very good dynamic duo. Then he coached Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. Again, very different, but also a good dynamic duo. And they were able to put up good numbers. He's got his, number 1 wide receiver in Rashad Bateman. He's also got Mark Andrews, but he can look at that and say, hey, what kind of guy do I want? Maybe he goes, hey, I really like Mike Evans. Maybe we want to get that big body, wide receiver that can get those jump balls. And we draft Andre Yusivas, out of Princeton, or maybe he goes, hey, I just really want a deep threat. We go after Jalen Hyatt, whatever it is. I'm not trying to speak on his behalf, but just he now has the keys and we can look at, hey, he's at least utilizing different people. He's utilized the tight end centric offense. He's utilized the wide receiver centric offense in the big body jump ball wide receiver. He's also done the slot guys. I think that's really, really beneficial to have a guy that's done everything. And it's not just one system in the same, because that was the problem with Greg Roman. It was the same system that he ran in San Francisco, that he ran in Buffalo, that he was running for his high school team. He never changed it. Monken does change it. So, that's something. And also, hey, a lot of people are bringing up, hey, maybe the Ravens will try and trade for Mike Evans. Not saying I think it will happen. I'm not saying that I want it to happen, but bringing in his old offensive coordinator could be something where the Ravens go, hey, do you want us to pursue Mike Evans? Because we can make the money to get Mike Evans. He's cheap. Mike Evans is cheaper than DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, for everyone that's questioning. If that's something that he wants, they can maybe look into that. But, I think this is actually a really good hire. When you look at the body of work that he has had, um, I think it's very impressive in his ability to have success while also being different. Every situation that he's been in has been a different situation, and he's still been able to find success in all of those situations. And for Lamar Jackson, I think, first off, if you guys haven't seen it, every Greg Roman hater that's like in the national media or former players that have just been dogging on Greg Roman for not helping Lamar, they love this hire. Des Bryant was ecstatic. He was like, man, we finally got a guy that can help Lamar Jackson. Dan Orlovsky, oh my goodness, this is a perfect hire for Lamar Jackson. Ben Watson, wow, the Ravens got a great one in Todd Monken. That's big. Like, everyone's hyping it up. And I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to sign that contract extension in the immediate future. But I think this is something where they can say, hey, here's a guy that people love that, he wasn't fired from Tampa Bay. I want to make that very clear. He wasn't fired. They fired their head coach, and Bruce Arians didn't keep him. Bruce Arians wanted to bring in his own staff. Bruce Arians is an offensive mind, so keep that in mind as well. And so he was like, okay, I'll go over to Cleveland. Then he was under like Freddie Kitchens, and Freddie Kitchens sucks. So, and then he goes over to Georgia and has instant success, and they win back-to-back national championships. I think this is something that you can look at Mike McDonald and say, like, hey, now it's different in like the age, but the Ravens are going after the college game because I think they recognize that the college game is adapting so much because the NFL gets everything from college. The NFL doesn't invent anything. They get it from the college game. It gets it from the high school game. The Ravens are going after the college game. What's having success there so they can get ahead of the curve and win. And finally, the other big point, Georgia has a great defense. They do. The Ravens also have a great defense. So you have to coach a certain way when you have a great defense. You have to be able to recognize, hey, we can just try and slow the clock down. We can slow the game down. That's something that's critical is having a coach that can recognize situations and say, you know what, we're going to get a stop. Let's not be super aggressive on this drive, or be like, hey, let's get aggressive. If you guys haven't seen it, go check out his press box reactions because he goes crazy in the booth, getting super excited. And the best part about those clips, if you've watched them, I've seen some against LSU, I've seen some against Florida. They're going crazy in the booth. They're high-fiving. Georgia's like put up like 50 points at that point. It's like they're putting up points. Georgia was not playing and not putting up points. Last year, they were a great offense. They put up a lot of points. Very excited to see what he does with the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is a really good signing. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to hear about Eric Bieniemy and the Ravens, but you know what? I'm not unhappy with this. It's not an internal hire. It's not someone from John Harbaugh's tree, and it's someone that adapts and someone that is going to bring balance to the Baltimore Ravens offense. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. I'm very excited, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.